A few days ago, Labor's draft national platform got leaked to the media. These things happen in politics, unfortunately, and one of the propositions that was in that was a proposal to extend the existing parental leave for workers from 1 year unpaid leave to 2 years, and also to give workers the right to return to work part-time after having become a mum or a dad. And there's been considerable debate about this in the media, and although we haven't finalised our formal position as yet, we're very strongly committed to improving flexibility for parents so that they can juggle their work and family responsibilities a lot better than they currently are able to do so. It's now been really widely established that the first year or two of a child's life are absolutely crucial, and the more love and attention and care they can get from their mother and father, the better they're likely to be in later life. So it's really important for parents to be able to look after their kids when they're young. I know this from personal experience. My wife is soon to return from maternity leave after the birth of our now nearly 8-month-old daughter Remy, and of course our earlier daughter, who's now 2.5, Ainsley. We went through the same experience, and I've got 2 older kids, so I know just what it's like, as so many other parents do, the importance of looking after those kids. Now, this kind of arrangement won't suit everybody. Plenty of people, like my wife, go back to work earlier than the 12 months under the existing system. But there are lots who would like to be able to stay out of the workforce for a longer period of time, but have the right to return to their previous job. And also there's lots who would like my wife is fortunately able to do, to go back part-time rather than full-time. So in other words, have a mixture of 2 or 3 days of childcare and 2 or 3 days at home, and to continue to work part-time. Now, of course, the response from the employers and from the Howard government in particular has been to claim that the sky will fall in, it'll be a disaster for the economy, and employers won't employ women of childbearing age, there'll be increases in unemployment, etc., etc. Now, the problem with this kind of argument is that it's exactly what we heard when maternity leave was introduced, and of course, since that time, the participation of women in the workforce has actually increased significantly. And it's the same tired argument you get from employers every time there's a proposal for an improvement in working conditions. The same kind of thing was said about occupational superannuation. And no doubt a couple of 100 years ago, it's the same kind of line that was being run against the abolition of slavery. You'll always hear the same kind of message from employers. In fact, these proposals, which are yet to be refined into precise detail, will be good for families but also good for our economy. Sure, they won't suit every employer, and it's specifically envisaged that there'd be a capacity for employers to refuse to provide an extended parental leave or part-time return if they've got legitimate reason for doing that. And in particular, very small businesses, obviously in many cases, would find it really difficult to manage these kind of arrangements. So it's not envisaged that it would automatically be imposed, it's just the onus would be on the employer to demonstrate why they were unable to comply. But it's really important with these kind of things to look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is about participation in our workforce. We are just about to start the early stages of a fairly dramatic ageing of our population and shrinking of our people of workforce age relative to the total population. Where that'll take us in 10 or 15 years' time is the percentage of the population who are in the workforce and paying most of the taxes will shrink. That means their burden will increase, and of course the number of people they have to look after, their dependents, young and old, are going to increase as a proportion of the population. Our female participation in our workforce is only about average compared with the overall industrialised world. We could do a lot better. And one of the key reasons that it's not so good is because of the fact that there are lots of barriers to women staying in the workforce after they have kids. Not only lack of flexibility with part-time arrangements, extended maternity leave, but also crippling childcare costs and loss of tax benefits, tax family benefits that otherwise they would get. So there's lots of reasons why it's important for our overall economy to make it easier for families, and particularly easier for women, to both have kids, bring up little kids and look after them, and also be in the workforce. Otherwise, we lose all the investment that we've made in their skills, in their training and their commitment that previously has gone into working life. Or we end up in a situation where we've got lots of stressed, guilty parents trying to juggle very onerous full-time employment with bringing up little kids, and in some cases less than ideal arrangements for bringing up with kids. The notion that employers wouldn't employ women of child-rearing age as a result of these changes if they were introduced is simply laughable. Provided there are protections for that number of employers who will find it very difficult to deal with these things, then this is going to be a good reform. There are always things that are important for the wider economy that individually can have a minor negative impact on employers. If employers all avoided contributing to the cost of training workers because they may not benefit directly themselves from training an individual worker, or they avoided paying the costs of environment protection or indeed security from terrorist attack, they might be better off in a narrow sense, but in the medium term they're going to be much worse off because the overall economy and society will be worse off. This is one of these issues. We're going to work on the detail, but it's a really important progressive reform for Australian families.